lady named Maya in Atlanta, Georgia.
TikTok after TikTok.
You ran that girl over. You're going to jail for life.
People are posting trying to make sense of what happened to Amiya Cunningham. The 25-year-old killed after getting hit by a car at 11:44 at night on April 26th.
Say, this is Maya. Maya then got out the car, then walked to the front. Maya's twerking. They run her over.
Friends who were with her that night say the group she was with pre-gamed at someone's house before they decided to go out. An issue between her and another girl happened before they all left in 3 separate cars.
25 years old, dancing at a red light, dead 30 seconds later. And the person behind the wheel? Someone she called a friend. This is the story of Amiya Cunningham, a young woman who sent a text message hours before her life ended that read, "I should have rode with you." The vibes were off, her gut was screaming at her, and she ignored it. Now, I need you to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this case is going to make you rethink every single person in your circle right now. How many times have you felt uncomfortable energy around people you trust? How many times has something felt wrong, but you stayed because you didn't want to seem rude or dramatic? Your nervous system knows. Your body picks up on danger before your brain can process it. And when you ignore those signals, when you silence that voice telling you to get out, the consequences can be deadly. Amiya Cunningham was killed on April 26, 2025, at the intersection of Forest Parkway and Frontage Road in Forest Park, Georgia. The people who took her life weren't strangers lurking in dark alleys. They weren't random criminals. They were the people sitting in the car with her. People who knew where she lived. People who'd been to her house. People she trusted. And here's what's going to make your blood boil. Forest Park police initially said there was no evidence of malice, negligence, or foul play. They looked at surveillance footage of a woman being run over and left in the street and said, "Nothing to see here." But the internet, social media, y'all saw something different. And because millions of people refused to let this story die, 3 weeks later, Alexandria Larkin was arrested and charged with first-degree vehicular homicide and leaving the scene of an accident. This is that story. And trust me, by the time we're done, you're going to understand why the people closest to you can sometimes be the most dangerous. Let me tell you who Amiya Cunningham was before that night took everything from her. She was the oldest of 7 siblings. 7. Which means she wasn't just a sister. She was a protector. A second mother. Someone 6 other people looked up to. When you're the oldest of 7, you learn how to take care of people. You learn responsibility. You learn love. Amiya had recently made plans to enroll in beauty school. She wasn't just floating through life waiting for something to happen. She had goals. She was building something, a future, a career. Independence. Her family described her as magnetic, the kind of person who walked into a room and immediately changed the energy. She loved animals, she loved her family, and she loved to dance. Anywhere, anytime. That infectious energy that made everyone around her feel good. The night she died was supposed to be a celebration. Her younger sister was going to prom. Her Aunt Chandra was celebrating her birthday. 3 reasons to be happy. 3 reasons to let your guard down and just live. But while Amiya was focused on celebrating the people she loved, someone in her circle was focused on something else entirely. Now, let's talk about Alexandria Larkin. 25 years old, just like Amiya.
May 21st, 1996, Alexandria Watkins was born. And 29 years later, specifically on April 26, 2025, she will be known to the world as Alex. This Alex, the woman who ran her friend over with the car in Atlanta, Georgia. 25-year-old Amiya Cunningham. Now let's get to know Alex. Alexandria Watkins graduated from Douglas County High School back in 2014 as an honor student. And shortly after that, specifically in 2017, she became God's gift to earth, a mother. Now we all know all relationships don't work out, but don't get it twisted. As a single mother, Alex is a go-getter. This did not stop her from being successful and doing what she had to do. She eventually got her license to become a patriotic phlebotomist, in which she mostly works around children drawing blood. Now that's very important to know, because we need to know what kind of trusted people are around our children. Now, friends and family would describe Alex as a very giving person. She'll give the shirt off her back to you. She'll surprise you with gifts just because. That's her love language, giving gifts, and she'll never ask for anything in return. And on April 29th, 2023, the universe said, hey, let's give you your gift, your knight in shining armor, Ladarian Larkins, in which he manned up and took and Alex and her daughter and said, hey, I got y'all, no matter what, through thick and thin, through highs and lows, till death do us part. Now, Alex has always been a big believer, constantly talking about God. God goes, growing and glowing. Prayers go up, blessings come down. God can do a lot before January 1st, 2023. Lord, I thank you in advance for all the blessings, big and small. But behind the surface of all the God talk lies another side of Alex. I know what it is about you now. I know why N-words stay. You're toxic. This is what she posts on her page of who she is. Now, a lot of her friends will say in the beginning, she'll give you a lot of gifts to build trust with you. But then later on, they'll notice a lot of evil freaking actions are going on behind the scenes and they wouldn't even recognize her. Even pertaining to her marriage, on the outside, there was relationship goals. Everything looked perfect. But behind the scenes, they're in marriage counseling because Alex is never satisfied and couldn't keep her legs closed. Infidelity grew, not only with other men, but other women. She received everything she wanted and had the perfect situation, but still it wasn't good enough. But yet Ladarian said, you know what? I'm gonna fight for you. I'm gonna give you another chance. Just don't put me in a bad position again. And just shortly after that, April 26, 2025, tragic struck, in which Alex took the life of Amiya Cunningham and left the scene for 2 hours to go get who? Her husband, Ladarian Larkins, who said, you know what? I'm gonna stick by you through thick and thin, through highs and lows, till death do us part. Now, after Alexandra returned back to the scene with her husband, for some strange reason, the police concluded that there was no malice and that it was an accident. He knows exactly who Alex is. But as a husband, he saved the fucking day. I don't know what kind of poom she got, but ain't no damn way you dragging me down on some bullshit. That wasn't no fucking accident. Now, some people say birds of a feather flock together. Y'all remember the lady back in Cabo, Shaquilla Robinson, who got jumped by her friends in Cabo, Mexico? Well, I got news for you. These ladies are all Alex's friends. They all hung out together. The same people. Now, the initial report was she was unalive due to drinking poison. But later, the examinators concluded that no, it was by an attack. Viral videos went around of her being jumped by her friends, and the examinators concluded the time of her unaliving was 15 minutes away from having injuries. So they lied. Doesn't that sound kind of familiar? The initial report being something of an accident, but then when the video surfaced, it showed something completely different. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Now, unfortunately for the family, thanks to you guys on social media blowing their story up, the news finally picked up Amiya Cunningham's story. Now there's even more pressure on the police to do their damn job to bring justice for Miss Amiya Cunningham. Moral of the story, I think a lot of tragic moments can be avoided if people just learn to love themselves for real, and not put on the front pretending that you're happy. Really love yourself so you don't have to take from other people. Much love and light to y'all. Justice for Amiya Cunningham. So recently I just reported a story about a young lady named Maya in Atlanta, Georgia, whose life was taken by getting hit by a car. And after speaking with the family directly, I wanted to retell the story the right way with key important details so I could do my due diligence, right? Now, at first I reported that her name was Maya Brooks, but I later found out that's not her name. After being able to speak with her aunt directly, she confirmed for me her name was Amiya Cunningham. So this is just to confirm that her name is not Maya Brooks, and we need to do our due diligence of telling her story the right way, and it's Amiya Cunningham. Now, you don't just take information from anybody, because when you're doing stories like this, everybody reach out to you and just start telling you some bull jive. So to confirm that she say who she say she was, she sent me personal pictures of her with Maya at her graduation. I blurred out her parents, her, and her other family members because she asked me not to expose who they are. Respectfully, she said I could show this message. Now, let's move on to her story. This is becoming a big deal on social media due to the fact that the Forest Park Police Department have came out and said they concluded their investigation and said that there was no malice on her death. And so the family is coming out saying, no, we need this story out because the cops did not do their due diligence and was ill-informed about the facts of this case. So this is what happened. Now, to start the night off, before they go out to the club, they all agree that they're going to pregame in a room together, you know, get their little drink on. And in this room, who are leaving together to the club is Maya, her guy friend T, another guy there who doesn't need to be disclosed, a girl named Deja who just happens to be Maya's neighbor. She lives 4 doors down and they've been friends for about 10 years, since 2015. Her friend Mickey and another girl named Alexis. Now, to pop the night off, Maya is on her level. She the life of the party as they through gaming. She twerking, she having fun, ooh, ooh. Now, at this moment, Alexis is kind of getting a little irritated because she really just want to go. She don't want to stay in this room. So her and Maya get into a little friction, nothing too serious, but you can tell there's some tension there. So then they decide to leave. So they all begin to leave in 3 separate cars. The first car in the front is her friend T and another guy. The last car is Deja, which is her neighbor, Mickey, which is her friend, and Maya. Now, in this middle car, it's only one person driving. The girl Maya had a little friction with, Alexis, driving the Jeep by herself, and she's in the middle. Now, during this ride, Maya even texts her friend T. The vibe was off and that she should have rolled with him. So her intuition was already telling her something wasn't right. Now, the car in the front, which got T and the other guy in it, which is Maya's close male friend, they missed the exit. So now the black Jeep, Alexis, car's in the front and they get off at the right exit. Right behind them is the car that Maya is in, along with Mickey and Deja. They stop at the stoplight because they notice, hey, the car with T in it is gone. Maya decides to get out and walk in front of the black car that has Alexis in front of it. And she begins to twerk, having fun at the stoplight. As you can see, Maya is well above the black Jeep, twerking. And then Alexis run her over and continues to run her over. As you can see, her body is lifeless on the ground and she continues to leave. Now, when the police showed up, the reason why this case was closed at the beginning of saying there was no malice is they had no knowledge that there were another car there. But as we can see from the surveillance, there was another car there. She left the scene and came back 2 hours later. Now, the car T was in that got off at the wrong exit finally came around, got off at the right exit, and saw that there was a body in the middle of, the street. So they got out and then he saw it was Maya. He said, oh my goodness. At that moment, he's talking to Mickey and Deja saying, what the heck happened? And then the police show up. Stop right there. There's discrepancies in the story of saying she never left. But when T came back to see her body laying in the middle of the street, Alexis or that black truck was not there. If it was an accident, why did you leave? Now, later when she did come back, her car was impounded by the police. For some reason, it's not out, but it's because she either had a suspended license or some insurance or broke some type of law. Everybody keeps saying different things, but I'm not about to put out no non-factual information. We know for a fact her car was impounded by the police, and then they concluded, hey, no ill intent, it was an accident. But for those who are reporting on this story saying, hey, the police did their job, the reason why the police concluded that there was no malice intent is because they had no idea all 3 cars were together. They was informed that this was just a random pedestrian that got hit by a car and that they didn't see her. But when you start listening to the whole story and know they had friction, she's in a car by herself. You can always lie and say, hey, I didn't see her. Nobody in the car with you. That's very important. Why did you leave? Why didn't Mickey and Deja hold her accountable and say, bring your ass back here? If this is my homeboy, if this is one of my boys, I'm not letting no motherfucker leave the scene that just unalive me. And then I keep quiet about it. Don't then go to the family about it and say, hey, this is what happened to your daughter. Blase, blase, your daughter who I've been friends with since middle school. What the fuck? So in the police recording, Alexis never even said she did not see Maya. The police is the one who low-key kind of coerced her into saying it because he states, I'm thinking she probably didn't see her. He didn't get that from Alexis. Now that's what her making her have that story and saying, you know what? I did not see her. Because at first everybody was just keeping quiet. And for everybody who lived in Atlanta before, I lived there for 2 years. We all know Atlanta police don't want to do shit. They about the laziest police. And then we dealing with black women. It could be a whole shooting or a whole robbery. You call the police, they don't even show up. I experienced it before. I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on down here? So this story definitely needs to bring attention to it. I was almost done with reporting stories, but when the family themselves told me, yo, we really do want this story out, I'm like, fuck it. When you gotta call it, you gotta call it. So I need everybody to share this story to put some pressure on the Forest Park Police Department to say, hell nah, you motherfuckers. You ain't concluded no investigation. You was uninformed. With that being said, this is a story of just being irresponsible, being jealous, being envy, and just having a fucked up mentality, bro. I think all parties are involved. Even if you didn't do it directly, for you to watch your friend be unalived and don't say nothing about it and cover up who did it and why they did it, that is some low down shit. That's some dirty ass shit. So, RIP, my condolences to the family, and justice for Amiya Cunningham. If y'all know something, come through. It's gonna be a lot of people hitting people DM saying, yo, I'm a family member, or I was there, that. Don't report shit if they're not giving you receipts. I always make sure I do my due diligence of when I'm speaking to somebody, they have to tell me. So y'all gonna see a lot of more people picking this story up and saying, yeah, this is what I know. If they ain't showing no receipts of people confirming they are who they say they are, it's just a bunch of bull jive. I don't play that. It's just a fuck. We should know what kind of people is in our neighborhoods. And them girls that was around her, that's some dirty shit. All right, man. Justice for Amiya. Y'all be great.
Alexandria didn't just hit her and stop. She kept driving, with Amiya's body underneath her vehicle, dragging her across the pavement like she was nothing. First responders from the Clayton County Sheriff's Office arrived and immediately began providing life-saving aid. They worked on Amiya right there in that intersection. They got her heart beating again. 4 times they brought her back. 4 times her body tried to hold on. She was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital, but the injuries were too severe. Amiya Cunningham was pronounced dead. 25 years old. Dancing 1 minute, gone the next. And where was Alexandria during all of this? Where was the woman who just took a life? She left. She drove away from that scene and disappeared for 2 hours. Not 2 minutes, not 20 minutes. 2 hours. While paramedics were fighting to save Amiya's life, Alexandria was somewhere else. And when she finally came back to the scene, she didn't come alone. She brought her husband with her. On their second wedding anniversary, Alexandria Larkin ran over her friend, left her dying in the street, went and got her husband, and came back to the scene like nothing happened. The manipulation, the audacity, the complete lack of remorse. But here's what makes this even more disgusting. She had help. Remember Deja? Amiya's neighbor since middle school, 12 years of friendship, and Mickey? They were in the car with Amiya. They saw everything. They watched Alexandria hit her. They watched the body get dragged. They watched their friend die. And when Forest Park police showed up and started asking questions, you know what Deja and Mickey said? Nothing. According to social media reports and witness accounts, they told police they didn't know who hit her. They acted like Amiya was just some random pedestrian. Like they hadn't just spent the entire evening with her. Like they hadn't watched her get murdered right in front of them. 12 years of sleepovers, 12 years of secrets and inside jokes and calling each other sisters. And Deja looked those officers in the eye and lied.
Because if that was your friend, when the police got there, you would have said, yes, officer, there was another car here, a black Jeep, a girl that we had just got done drinking with, ran her over. I don't want to hear about nobody saying, oh, maybe she didn't see her, da-da-da. Listen, even if I give her the benefit of the doubt, and that's a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, you mean to tell me that this girl ran her over with her truck and didn't immediately stop? So you didn't just hit her, then just stop. You kept going. Did we see the same video? If I was in my car, okay, let me just make an example. If I was in my car driving and I hit anything, okay, I don't care if I hit a damn dog, a raccoon, nothing. I'm stopping and getting out and looking and seeing what I did. I'm not gonna keep going. In that video, she clearly hit that girl and kept going with her body under the car. Then for you to flee the scene, because that's what you did. You fled the scene for 2 hours, then came back with your husband, is what I'm being told. Right? I don't know if she went back to the scene, they called the police at the scene, and they apparently, towed her car away. But what I'm being told is that you left the scene of the accident, and what I'm being told is that her childhood friend, you didn't tell the police the truth. You didn't tell the police the truth. You didn't tell him, you didn't tell anybody. Oh yeah, there was a car in front of us. We all just left from this house having a pregame. The girl who was in the car in front of us, she kept going, hit Maya. Maya was under her car and kept going until Maya rolled from up under her. Why didn't you stop? That's my biggest question.
That's not friendship. That's betrayal at the highest level. Forest Park Police Department released a statement saying their investigation found no evidence of malice, negligence, or foul play. Detectives reviewed the surveillance footage and conducted interviews, and concluded there was no negligence on the driver's part. Read that again. They watched video of a woman being hit by a car and dragged across the pavement, and said, no negligence here, no arrests, no charges, case closed. The statement was later taken down from the police department's Facebook page, reportedly out of respect for the family. But the damage was done. The message was clear. They weren't taking this seriously, and that's when the internet stepped in. The surveillance footage started circulating on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Millions of people watched that video. Millions of people saw exactly what happened at that intersection. And the outrage was immediate. Content creators picked up the story. Gorgeous doll, commentary channels, true crime podcasters. Everyone who saw that footage knew the same thing. This wasn't an accident. This was murder. Hashtags started trending. Justice for Amiya spread across every platform. People were tagging Forest Park Police. They were calling the department. They were demanding answers. Because here's what social media understood that the police refused to acknowledge. When you hit someone with your car and keep driving, that's not an accident. When you leave the scene for 2 hours, that's not an accident. When you come back with your husband instead of calling 911 immediately, that's not an accident. That's consciousness of guilt. The pressure became unbearable. Every day brought new attention to the case. People were connecting dots that investigators had ignored. They were doing the work that should have been done from day one. Meanwhile, Amiya's family was drowning in grief. Her aunt, Chandra Walker, organized a vigil at Cliftondale Park in South Fulton on May 7th. Dozens of people showed up dressed in green.
Police are still investigating, but no arrests have been made.
Maya's death will not be in vain. Our family will see to it that Maya gets the justice that she deserves.
Today, her family and friends honor Amiya's life.
I'm so happy to have her in my life and as a friend.
Just to know that she was even in the process of changing her life around makes me happy.
Maya didn't mean no harm to nobody.
We gonna live for Maya.
Despite their tears, this family holds each other.
Today we mourn, but we also remember, because love never dies.
Maya's light won't either.
Now, this family is planning Maya's funeral and planning to lay her to rest within the next few days. They are fundraising for her homegoing and for any potential legal fees that they may have to incur moving forward. If you'd like to help, we have a link in this story right now on our website. We're live tonight in Forest Park. Angelina Salcido, 11 Alive News.
Angelina, such a difficult story and a difficult situation for that family. Thank you so much. Forest Park Police had previously released a statement saying no arrests were made because they found no negligence or foul play after reviewing video of that accident, that crash, and taking statements at the site. The investigation into what happened that night is ongoing.
The vigil wasn't just a memorial, it was a rallying cry, and the internet heard it loud and clear. 3 weeks. That's how long it took for Forest Park police to do what they should have done on night 1. On May 17, 2025, nearly 3 weeks after initially ruling out foul play, Forest Park police arrested Alexandria Larkin. She was charged with homicide by vehicle in the first degree and leaving the scene of an accident. The charges that should have been filed immediately. The arrest that should have happened while Amiya's body was still warm. But it took millions of people refusing to let this story die. It took social media pressure. It took Amiya's family standing up and demanding accountability. Police stated that new information and public outcry from the victim's family prompted them to re-examine the case. New information. Let's be clear about what that means. They were forced to do their job because the entire internet was watching. When Alexandria appeared in court for her first hearing, reality finally hit her. The judge looked at this woman, this person who had taken a life on her own wedding anniversary, and made it crystal clear that bond wasn't even a possibility. Bond denied. Alexandria Larkin would sit in jail where she belonged until her trial. She threw away everything for 5 seconds of jealous rage. Her freedom, her marriage, her relationship with her child, all because she couldn't stand watching someone else shine. But here's what still makes my blood boil. Deja and Mickey are walking around free. No charges, no arrests, no accountability whatsoever. They helped position a victim. They watched a murder happen. They lied to police about it. They attended Amiya's funeral knowing they helped take her life. And the system has done nothing. How do you charge the trigger finger, but not the people who loaded the gun? How do you prosecute the driver, but not the accomplices who made sure the victim was in the perfect position? The investigation remains ongoing, and police have not released further details about what led to the decision to charge Larkin or whether additional arrests might be made. Amiya's family is still fighting, still demanding that everyone involved face consequences, because this wasn't one person acting alone. This was a conspiracy, multiple people working together to set up, execute, and cover up a murder. Let me tell you something about the psychology behind what Alexandria did, because understanding how someone becomes capable of murder is just as important as understanding what they did. Jealousy doesn't happen overnight. It festers. It grows in the dark corners of someone's mind until it becomes this living, breathing thing that consumes everything good inside them. Alexandria watched Amiya for months, maybe even years. She watched her dance. She watched people gravitate toward her energy. She watched Amiya command attention without even trying. And every single time, that jealousy grew stronger. You know what the most dangerous thing about people like Alexandria is? They can hide it. They can smile in your face. They can give you gifts. They can post about God and blessings and gratitude. They can perform the role of good friend so convincingly that you never see the rage building underneath until it's too late. Think about the calculation involved in what she did. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision. This was someone who had been waiting for the perfect opportunity. Someone who knew exactly what she was doing when she volunteered to drive alone in that middle car. No passengers, no witnesses in her vehicle, just her and her thoughts. And that jealousy that had been eating her alive. And when Amiya got out of that car to dance, just being herself, just living in that moment, Alexandria saw her chance. The light turned green, and she took it. Now let's talk about what happened after the murder, because that's where you really see how deep this conspiracy went. Alexandria didn't just panic and drive away. She left for 2 hours. 2 hours. Do you understand what that means? She had time to think, time to plan, time to decide how she was going to spin this story. And she knew exactly who to call, her husband. The man who had stood by her through infidelity and lies. The man who said, through thick and thin, till death do us part. And on their second wedding anniversary, he chose to stand by her through murder. When they came back to that scene together, they had a story ready. Vehicle registration issues, mechanical problems, some excuse that would explain why she left. But here's what they didn't count on. Surveillance cameras capturing everything. And they definitely didn't count on the internet refusing to let the story disappear. But Alexandria had more help than just her husband. She had Deja and Mickey, the two people who were in the car with Amiya when she died. Let's talk about Deja for a minute. 12 years of friendship. Growing up 4 houses apart, sleepovers and secrets and calling each other sisters. 12 years of shared memories and inside jokes and promises to always have each other's backs. And when the police showed up asking questions, Deja looked them in the eye and said she didn't know who hit Amiya. How do you do that? How do you watch someone you've known since middle school get murdered right in front of you and then lie about it to protect her killer? I'll tell you how, because Deja chose a side. And it wasn't Amiya's side. The same goes for Mickey. Silent, complicit. Standing there watching the whole thing unfold and saying nothing. Not to the police, not to Amiya's family, nothing. These weren't random people who happened to witness a crime. These were supposed to be Amiya's friends, people she trusted, people who should have protected her. Instead, they helped cover up her murder. And here's what makes me absolutely furious. They're still walking around free. No charges, no arrests. No consequences whatsoever for being accessories to murder. The legal system failed Amiya twice. First, when Forest Park police looked at surveillance footage of a woman being run over and said no foul play. And second, when they arrested Alexandria but let her accomplices walk free. How is that justice? Let me tell you what real justice would look like. Deja and Mickey in handcuffs. Charged as accessories after the fact. Charged with obstruction of justice. Charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Because that's what they did. They helped position the victim. They watched the crime happen. They lied to investigators. And they're still lying by staying silent. The fact that they attended Amiya's funeral, that they stood there with her family, knowing exactly what happened, that takes a special kind of evil. Now, let's talk about the community response, because this is where the story gets powerful. When Forest Park police tried to sweep this under the rug, social media said, "Not this time." Content creators picked up the story. TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagram pages, commentary channels. Everyone who saw that surveillance footage knew immediately that this wasn't an accident. And they refused to let it die. Hashtags started trending. Justice for Amiya spread across every platform. Millions of people were sharing that video. Millions of people were demanding answers. Millions of people were putting pressure on Forest Park Police Department to do their job. This is the power of social media when it's used for good. This is what happens when regular people refuse to accept injustice. This is what happens when a community says, "We see you, and we're not letting you get away with this." Chandra Walker, Amiya's aunt, told reporters, "She died on my birthday, so this is personal to her Nini." Can you imagine that? Having to celebrate your birthday every single year, knowing that's the day your niece was murdered? But Chandra didn't let that grief break her. She channeled it into action. She organized vigils. She spoke to news outlets. She kept Amiya's name in the headlines. She demanded justice when the system wanted to move on. And because of her persistence, because of the family's refusal to accept the initial ruling, Alexandria Larkin is sitting in a jail cell right now. That's the power of not giving up. That's the power of fighting for accountability even when the system tells you to be quiet and move on. Let me break down what this case teaches us about toxic friendships and dangerous people. Lesson 1. Trust your gut immediately. Amiya sent that text message saying she wished she'd driven with someone else. Her instincts were screaming at her, but she didn't act on it. She stayed in that car. She stayed in that situation. The next time your gut tells you something's wrong, you leave. Right then, no explanations, no apologies. You remove yourself from that situation immediately. Your survival instinct exists for a reason. It's not being dramatic. It's not being paranoid. It's your body trying to keep you alive. Lesson 2. Watch how people react to your success. Amiya was just being herself. Dancing, laughing, making people feel good. That's who she was. And Alexandria couldn't stand it. If someone in your circle gets angry when you shine, if they can't celebrate your wins, if your happiness makes them uncomfortable, That person is dangerous. Real friends celebrate when you succeed. Toxic people see your success as something being taken away from them. Lesson 3. Generosity can be manipulation. Alexandria was known for giving gifts, for doing nice things, for being the friend who would give you the shirt off her back. But that generosity was a weapon. It was a way to build trust so people wouldn't see the monster underneath. It was a way to make people feel obligated to her. True generosity comes with no strings attached. Manipulative generosity always has a hidden price. Lesson 4. People who perform goodness are often hiding something. Alexandria's social media was full of God talk, Bible verses, posts about being blessed, prayers and gratitude and all the right words. But behind that performance was someone capable of murder. When someone's online persona seems too perfect, when they're constantly performing their virtue for an audience, pay attention to the difference between what they say and what they do. Lesson 5. Some people will never be satisfied. Alexandria had a husband who stood by her through infidelity. She had a career. She had a child. She had a life that most people would be grateful for, and it wasn't enough. It will never be enough for people like her, because empty people don't want to build themselves up. They want to tear everyone around them down, and no amount of success or blessings or love will ever fill that void inside them. Lesson 6. Accomplices are just as guilty. Deja and Mickey didn't drive that car, but they helped position Amiya. They watched her die. They lied to police. That makes them guilty, period. If you witness a crime and stay silent, you're not innocent. You're an accomplice. And you deserve to face consequences just like the person who committed the crime. Here's what I want you to understand about this case. Amiya Cunningham was failed by everyone around her. She was failed by friends who were supposed to protect her. She was failed by a police department that tried to sweep her murder under the rug. She was failed by a system that still hasn't held all of her killers accountable. But she was not failed by her family. Chandra Walker and the rest of the Cunningham family fought back. They refused to accept no foul play. They refused to let Amiya's name fade into obscurity. They demanded justice until they got it. And they're still fighting, still demanding that Deja and Mickey face consequences, still refusing to let this story end until everyone involved is held accountable. That's what love looks like. That's what real family looks like. Not the people who call you friend and then watch you die, but the people who refuse to let your death be in vain. Mia's death will not be in vain, Chandra said at the vigil, and she meant it. To everyone watching this, if you recognize yourself in the story, if you felt that uncomfortable energy around people you're supposed to trust, if someone in your circle makes you feel small when you shine, if your gut has been telling you something's wrong, listen. Remove yourself from toxic situations. Cut off people who can't celebrate your happiness. Trust your instincts immediately instead of second-guessing yourself to be polite, because being polite can get you killed. And to anyone who sees themselves in Alexandria's story, if jealousy eats at you when your friends succeed, if other people's happiness feels like your loss, if you're so empty inside that no amount of blessings can fill that void, get help. Talk to a therapist, work on yourself, deal with your demons before they turn you into someone capable of destroying lives. Because once you cross that line, there's no coming back. Ask Alexandria how her wedding anniversary turned out. Ask her if those 5 seconds of rage were worth spending the rest of her life in prison. Amiya Cunningham was 25 years old, the oldest of 7 siblings, a future beauty school student, a young woman with dreams and plans and a family that loved her. She should be here. She should be celebrating birthdays and holidays with her 6 younger siblings. She should be starting her career. She should be living. Instead, she's gone. Because someone she called a friend couldn't handle watching her shine. To the Cunningham family, to Chandra, to Amiya's 6 siblings, to everyone who loved her and is still fighting for complete justice. We see you. The world sees you. And we're standing with you until every person who played a role in Amiya's death faces consequences. This story isn't over. Not until Deja and Mickey are in handcuffs. Not until everyone who helped murder Amiya Cunningham is held accountable. Rest in power, Amiya Cunningham. Your name will not be forgotten. Your light will not be dimmed. Your story will serve as a warning and a lesson to everyone who watches this. Trust your gut, choose your circle carefully, and never, ever ignore those warning signs. Because the people closest to you, they can be the most dangerous. This is Trending Crime Vault, and we don't let these stories die. Justice for Amiya, always.